Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Welcome to our online Kashmir Cultural Heritage Awareness Series. Today is our 63rd week, and the topic today is Kashmir Through My Eyes by Sri Amit Raina. Today's prayer is going to be by Saket Karthik. Saket started learning Carnatic music from Srimati Kamakshi Kalyanasundram from the age of 6. As we all know, Srimati Kamakshi Kalyanasundram appeared in our program several times, and we thank her for recommending her students. Inspired and encouraged by his guru, Saket participated in many music competitions and programs conducted in North America. Recently, he won the first prize in the competition conducted by Papanasam Sivan Trust in New Jersey. Over to you, Saket.
Namaskaram, sir. परन्धामवति जयति परन्धामवति जयति पार्वती परमेश युवति 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 परन्धामवति जयति परञ्ज्योति विकासिनी परञ्ज्योति विकासिनी परञ्ज्योति विकासिनी परञ्ज्योति विकासिनी परमात्मा प्रकाशिनी परञ्ज्योति विकासिनी परमात्मा प्रकाशिनी निरन्तरं गुरुगुह जननी बृहदीशरञ्जनी निरन्तरं गुरुगुह जननी बृहदीशरञ्जनी परन्धामवति जयति पार्वती परमेश युवति परन्धामवति जयति Thank you.
Thank you, Saket. It was very nice, and hope to see you again in our future programs.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We thank Sri Kanchi Mutt for our ongoing Kashmir initiative and offer our namaskaram to His Holiness Sri Shankara Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal. Kanchi Mutt, we all know, has always been in the forefront, modestly working with the sole aim of national integration, spiritual enlightenment, and preserving the uniqueness of Kashmir, as Kashmir is our cultural heritage. We are very happy to present our speaker today, Sri Amit Raina, who is joining us, showing us Kashmir through his eyes. Born in Srinagar, Kashmir, Amit ji was forced to leave his homeland at the age of 9, lived in a Jammu post 1990 exodus, and completed his schooling at Jammu. Studied BE in computer science from Nagpur University and later came to Chicago, USA for higher studies. Currently working as IT professional for a consulting firm based out of Houston, Texas. actively volunteering with the Kashmiri community in Texas. Amit ji, this is the second time we are calling Houston. Sounding like Houston, we have a problem.
Houston always has a solution. Namaskar to all the viewers, and I want to specially thank Kanchi Kamakoti Pitham for giving us this platform for our community and bringing this necessary awareness across the globe. Thank you so much, and thank you, Shankarji. I bow my head, I naman to Sri Shankaracharya, all the 70 acharyas, and His Holiness. And thank you, Shankarji, for giving us this dice. Well, a lot of
You can go ahead right away, or you want to say anything further before you proceed on Kashmir? Your experiences are, I think you will cover everything. Okay,
right,
sure.
right. Yeah, so there has been a lot of eminent people from our community on this platform earlier, and as you rightly said, this is the 63rd series of this awareness campaign, and we're very thankful that we are kind of because Adi Shankaracharya had a very deep-rooted connection with Kashmir. And I actually wanted to thank Saket also for starting off with that beautiful prayer. Namasto Sharda Devi Kashmir Purvasini. That I think echoes and that kind of connects the whole world with what that great land, that spiritual land, the land of rishis, as we call them, Kashmir. So yes, I was born in Srinagar, Kashmir, and I was born and brought up there till I was age 9, and then all of that uh, started, and that I can say I'm one of the survivors, first-hand survivors for of that genocide which our community has to go through during that turmoil. And in 1990 we were forced to leave our homeland where our ancestors have been living for more than 5,000 years. We were the aboriginal inhabitants of that land, and on one fine night, one fine day, we were forced to leave that land. And from there, we had to go through so many, our community has suffered a lot. And 1700 plus we lost our community members and counting, and it's still happening as we speak today. It's not ended yet. It's an ongoing thing. And as some of the eminent people have already spoken on this platform earlier, so this was the seventh exodus for our Kashmiri Hindu community on that land. And since that 1990, we have been kind of living in Jammu, and my parents are based out in Jammu. So did my schooling in Jammu, and from there we went for our further studies. But my experience, if you say, I mean, I still remember everything what happened back in those turbulent times. Uh, so it all actually started in 86, 87, and that's when it all started. And then uh, we were getting threatening letters, and our community leaders were getting targeted, and that they basically were kind of working on a model of like kill one and scare 100. So that's how they started off their campaign. They started sending letters, they started putting a hit list everywhere, and then they started killing our community members. And I actually belong to a family, my one of my uncles, oldest uncle, he was a saint, so we were always in their list. And my dad was a central government employee, so he was also in the list. So in our area, my dad and my uncle, they were kind of in the hit list. And one of my dad's colleague, who was also in the hit list, and it has been shown in the Kashmir file, uh, he was brutally murdered in his house. So we have seen that. I mean, Kashmir Files was just, as we say, spec, because whatever has happened to us, obviously, there was no movie so far, right? And I want to give credit to the makers of Kashmir Files. This was really a first honest attempt by any Bollywood or any filmmaker to actually show exactly the reality, the what actually happened there. We have seen so many things in the past, and they were nowhere near to the reality. So this was actually what you have seen, and I'm sure you might have seen the movie. That was actually exactly what I have seen when I was a 9-year-old, and then I can vouch for each and everything shown in that movie. So yeah, that I will say was the most authentic uh, version of what our community, our peaceful community. We see we come from a very civil, very polite, very peaceful community. We never took arms and all that, and maybe that was the fault. But we had to go through so many things. Our community always had education as our weapon, right? And that kind of kept us going even today. So we never let that go. So even if we were removed from our motherland, wherever we went, we kind of stick to our ground, we stick to our educational roots. We made sure that we give that necessary knowledge, necessary education to our kids. And that's how our grooming has been done. That's how we are genetically coded, right? So that is in our roots. So but yes, I keep telling my son is 9-year-old, that when I was of your age, I have seen a lot, and I don't wish anyone to go through that, because living in a secular country, so-called secular country, and democratically elected governments and this and that, and if somebody has to go through that in his own country, then it's really I'll say it's a shame. And uh, the whole system failed us. I will not blame anyone. It was the whole system which failed us. It was a whole ecosystem, I'll call it, because it was not only one sect of uh, this. It was the politicians, the bureaucrats, everyone. So yes, and all for the this is our 32nd year in exile now. So it all happened in 1990, and today is 2022. So it's our 32nd year in exile, and so far we were even waiting that somebody can at least showcase this on a big screen, somebody can talk, because we wanted at least acknowledgement from the wider audience. We wanted acknowledgement from the people, because when we were saying all this to other people, they couldn't relate to anything, and they used to think that these guys are crazy or something, this never happens. But when they see it happening around the world right now, what is happening in Syria, what is ISIS doing everywhere, and all of that, now they can kind of connect the dots, and they can think, yes, this can happen, and this has happened. And thanks again to the movie, which kind of brought our story to the mainstream, to the larger audience, and showcased at least what on our side, what we have gone through, what we have suffered during those turbulent times, and we are still suffering. I mean, as I said, last week only one of our community member was brutally murdered, and it's an ongoing thing. It has never stopped. So yeah. Sinkaji, your voice is
Yeah,
not.
yeah, yeah. I
Yeah.
could see lots of comments coming, and you see this one. Welcome, and how can other Kashmiri Pandit members can join you all there in Texas? Yes, sure.
Yeah.
We would like to hear from others too, and I'm glad we are getting connected. And we
Right.
want to
You
hear.
guys, whoever wrote it is welcome to. He can come to my house. I live in Katy, Texas. Anytime. We can, if you can come now, we can connect.
Oh, no, that's
I
very
will.
interesting. No, you mentioned about your parents living in
Jammu.
Jammu.
Mhm.
What about your properties in Kashmir, in Srinagar area? You had property. You grew up there, right?
Right. So we had a house, ancestral house. I mean, we come from a middle class family. We don't have like enough lands and all of that. So we had a house, ancestral house. And when we left Kashmir in 90, when we were forced to leave, I think 2 years later, down, I think in 92 or 93, so they burned down that house. So it was all in ashes. And then we had to, I believe, later to a distress sale or something. But the house was burned down, And yeah, so we,
No, I have to
that's
mention
all.
this.
That's all we
Uh,
had there.
Recently, a delegation from Srinagar visited Chennai,
Okay.
and these people are from registration department. They
Okay.
met with our people here because in Tamil Nadu we have very good laws in place. Even distress sale or encroachment or giving falsified documents and taking over property,
Hmm.
all that we have a very good control system in Tamil Nadu. This came in the press just about a week or so. So things are changing now, right? You have a database and all that are getting recorded.
Right. I have seen they have also started off. There is a portal, I believe, where you can kind of register if you have gone through a distress sale. It's ongoing. I mean, it's a long term process. It's not gonna get settled within a day, or but it's a good initiative. At least they have started off recognizing that there were distress sales, because some people would say, oh, you just sold off everything and you left. No, we didn't sell it at our own this, right? It was a distress sale. If your house is burned down, what is left in there? Nothing. And if your neighbor wants to buy it, so it's but they have started. I have seen there is a portal started by the JNK government, and they are asking for people to kind of register there. And if they have gone through a distress sale, then they can mention all of that. But again, as you asked, the government, I mean, government is taking good steps as well. I'll not say that they're not doing anything. We are very hopeful and very confident with this current dispensation we have. Article 370 removal, our whole community wholeheartedly welcomed it. It was a very big step, a big but again, it's a long process, right? I think right now what is happening on the ground, and last week only we had our 7 to 10 families. They had to again leave
Yes,
the place, and we have our displaced employees, Kashmiri employees, who are on dharna, who are on strike from last few months, because from last 1 year, I will say, they have been selectively killing our community members, and they started it again, and this is how they started it back in '89. So they are selectively killing our community members, and sending opening threatening letters to the media and saying that, okay, we killed him, now next we're going to kill him. So their basic aim is that you can come here, visit, spend your money, but will not let you settle here. And with this abrogation of Article 370, they are fearing that we may come back, or so till as I again said, it's a demographic issue. Till you balance the demographics of that place, it will be an ongoing thing, and they fear that, and that's how this is. They don't want us to settle back there, and we have been asking for a separate homeland. Our rehabilitation and return bill is in the parliament and all of that. But again, from what is happening today on the ground, I don't see that much engagement from the government with our community leaders. I don't see that as of today. A long term, yes, they are taking good steps. Article 370 and terror crackdown and surgical strikes, they were all taken. They're all good steps, no doubt about it. But you had to go a long way. They had to go after the ecosystem. They cannot just claim that, oh, they just went after the person who killed him, and then they just say, oh, terrorism is, that's not terrorism. It's the whole ecosystem which supports that, and that includes a lot of sections. That includes the local political section, that includes the media, that includes a lot of things. So they have to go after. I mean, our community is 32nd year in exile, and we haven't still got any justice. 1700 plus people were brutally murdered, and the people who did that, they are still roaming scot free. So they and Supreme Court recently, I don't know if you heard, they didn't entertain any of our case. They said it's too old now.
yes,
So that's the level of I mean, till we get justice. See, our we had three main demands. I believe, and I'm not a community leader or something, but if you ask even any of our community leader, our three main demands were, right, first was acknowledgement, recognition. First, recognize what happened to us, because prior to Kashmir files, people didn't even know that this is what we had to go through back in 90s. So first, recognize that, right? Recognize and acknowledge that this community has suffered. There was a cultural genocide, ethnic cleansing, which we had to go through. So that is our step one, right? Like, people need to first acknowledge that. And I believe with Kashmir files and all that, and the awareness campaign like you are running, and thankful to you for that. So people have kind of started talking now. Okay, this is what has happened. So the acknowledgement piece is there. Now the second piece is the right to justice. We need those killers who are there, who are running elections. Actually, we need them to be tried. They need to be hanged. I mean, there has to be a commission set up. There has to be a tribunal, a commission, or some sort. And it doesn't only include only the people who actually killed. There were people who supported them, and they are also running scot free. So that is our second thing, that we need justice for our martyrs, and our people are getting killed on a daily basis, even if as of today. And the third thing is obviously the return and rehabilitation. We need to go back, obviously. Why not? I mean, everybody has a place to go. I tell my son about my childhood, and he said, "Where is it? Where did you live?" I mean, you cannot keep talking about it unless you can show it, right? So there has to be a conducive environment where if I want to go back and visit my home place, I should be able to go back, not as only as a tourist. There are people who want to go back and settle. So there should be a conducive environment. You cannot just tell us go back and live there. We cannot do that. Then you don't know the problem, right? And that's what is happening right now. Our employees, they place them in these Kashmir far-flung areas, and they are getting targeted. They are like sitting ducks right now there, because there's no security for them. So you have to create an environment. You have to create a secured environment for us to go back. We cannot just pick up our bags and go back. So the government has to think that way as well. I know right now a lot of things are happening, like reopening the theater and all of that. And government may be thinking that those are big signs, maybe for them, but till our Kashmiri community is re-established back into their roots in Kashmir, then we can call it's real normalcy. Other than that, opening a mall or building a factory or something, that's not that. It was never a development issue. That's the other thing which people always say, oh, Kashmir didn't have. No, Kashmir, there were five-star hotels in Kashmir in back in 80s, 70s, Broadway,
Mm.
Center, everything. So it was not a development issue. We had to recognize what the issue was. The issue was radical Islamic terrorism. So we deal it head on, and that's what I think the government is doing, and they should be doing, and they should go after the whole ecosystem, not just after few people. So that's the whole thing. Development will come later. Obviously, development. I mean, the whole country is growing, right? So Kashmir will also get its share, and the amount of money India has spent on Kashmir, if you go back, so where has that money gone, right? So these are the things need to see, and look at the demographics 100 years back in Kashmir and look at today. Why is it so different? What happened to the minority population? And look at the other states right now. And through this program, obviously we cannot undo what has happened to us. We already had to go through hell, right, back in the days. But at least we can, our my aim is at least to generate some awareness, and through this program at least let others know that if this has happened to us, it can happen to you, so you better watch out. And I can see it, there are some pockets in India it's already happening, right? So you need to understand that it's better to be fully aware about your surroundings. So
No,
yeah.
I actually happened to attend few presentations by your diaspora.
Right.
Very impressive presentation. People from South Africa, UK, USA, they all joined and asked me to attend too, thanks to the program we have been doing. It is not just like the cinema halls you talked about. They have a very comprehensive program. It's not just rehabilitation of Kashmiri Pandits, but it is for um, the growth on the economy, development of Kashmir, and that is going to benefit everybody, not just Kashmiri Pandits. Like, for instance, they talked about IT park, starting universities, world-class hospitals, and you Kashmiri Pandits, very knowledgeable, highly educated, and you all have in your fingertips about the whole history. Anyone who appears here, they start quoting from 1947,
Right,
and they start telling about how many exodus, how many got killed, everything.
right, right,
So I don't know when that's going to be implemented, but I'm sure government
right.
knows more about that, and
Right.
they are
I mean,
working on that.
whatever you're saying makes, yeah, but for all that to implement, you first have to have a secure environment, right? You cannot have target killings going on one side and then you say, okay, I'll build this on the other side. That they both don't go together. So first, you have to have a secured environment. Nobody is going to invest money if he's not sure whether he can sustain, right? And this is what has happened post Article 370. People who were doing business in Kashmir, and there are so many instances, and they were renting that shop or they were leasing that shop so far because they couldn't buy it because of the article. The moment they got the domicile, they got uh, the 370 got abrogated, they bought that thing and they got killed. So what is the message out here? So the message is, you can come here, spend your money, but you cannot settle here. So till we address that issue, and obviously, I mean, what you just said, yes, in the long term, yes, but I think right now the highest main focus, I will say, should be securing, creating a secure environment. And how do you do that? You go after the whole ecosystem, not just after a few brainwashed youths, or and then say, oh, we eliminated the terror. It doesn't work that way. So yeah.
No, last week we had a presentation by Mr. Arun, Director of TVS Supply Chain Solutions, Logistics Operations in the UK. He's one of the directors there. After watching all our programs, Arun visited Kashmir, even though everyone advised not to go based on what we keep reading. So
Right.
he went with his wife and two kids who are attending medical school in the UK.
Okay.
Arun made a great presentation. You should go and watch that. While I thought that's a good way of showcasing Kashmir, your president of Kashmiri diaspora, that is Archana Kukru, Dr.
Right.
Archana Kukru.
Right.
She also appeared in our program, made a very nice presentation, Abhinava Gupta. She was not very happy about that program because the title read Kashmir, a great place to visit. She sent me a message
Yeah.
saying, "What is this? Is this getting reduced to a tourist spot or what?" I mean,
Exactly.
I think it's a genuine
Right.
concern. But don't you think that we have to keep Kashmir engaged, not
Oh,
just by these lectures, but by visits?
right. We had to keep it engaged. And as you said, that Mr. Arun, he went to Kashmir, but he didn't went there to live. He went there to visit. Right. Then there's a difference right there. And that's what I'm trying to say. If you want to live there, it's, as Dr. Kokru said, it's not a place to visit. It should be a place to live. And we used to live there, right? Till we can live there, till we can go back there. For us, I mean, at least for me, and all I'm saying is from my personal experience. I'm not talking about the whole community, obviously. I'm just talking about my limited capacity. For me, the normalcy will mean when we can go back, not to visit, just to visit. If I have to live there, if my community member has to live there, he should be free to live there. He should not be under constant threat. He should not be killed if he's living there. So it's still happening. So unless, yeah, that is but yeah, we should be engaging, you're right. But again, we should not get sidetracked. And that's it's very easy to get sidetracked when you see these development projects happening and all of that, and you think everything is back to normal.
So the big picture is forgotten, and we just
Exactly.
go and see Dal Lake and come back.
Right, you take a couple of pictures and they treat you well, everything is good, but that's not the real picture. You tell them, I want to live here, and then see what happens. So that has to be always be in the back of your mind. It's not, obviously Kashmir was always a tourism hub. I mean, the main revenue for Kashmir back in 60s, 70s, 50s, 80s, it was always tourism. So everybody understands that. The whole Bollywood used to go to Kashmir, right? That was the main tourism hub. So why will anyone say no to tourist? They will not say no to tourist. That's their bread and butter. But if the tourist says, I want to buy something here and I want to live here, then we have to see how it goes. And for what is happening currently, I don't see that happening as of yet. Things may change in future and I wish it will. But right now, we still are in the same boat. What happened in 1990 is happening again. So, but
No,
yes.
among your Kashmiri Pandit community in the US,
Mhm.
I'm sure this is a big topic. Every time you meet, you talk about going
Right,
back or visiting or having your own place in your own Kashmir or wherever
right,
you come from.
right.
So, what are your thoughts among Kashmiri Pandit community? I know Dr. Surendra Kaul also came and he spoke very well. In fact, he addressed directly to the concerned people. Right
Right.
away, he asked some questions. It was very nice presentation, very early in our program last year. So, what plans you have as diaspora, and I'm sure you all meet periodically and discuss about these things
Right.
personally.
Yeah, see, as any NRI, as you rightly pointed out, NRIs go back to their home country and they have a place to go, right? Our community, our Kashmiri Hindu community, I believe, is the only community in India who doesn't have a place to go. Obviously, we are temporarily living in other places. Everybody has settled somewhere else. Somebody is living in Delhi, Jammu, Mumbai, Hyderabad, but that's not our homeland, right? So obviously, we as just like any other NRI, if we want to go, when we go to visit India, we want to visit our homeland. We want to show that place to our kids, right? Because that's where we came from. That's where our ancestors came from. Absolutely. If that, again, it all depends how that secured environment is created. If that is there, then obviously I will think NRIs and all the Kashmiri diaspora sitting in India and outside India, they will definitely would like to contribute. They would like to help the community. They would like to come forward and help in the re-establishment of our community. Obviously,
No, I have to share this with you. I get calls from Kashmiri Pandit community mainly to
right?
thank Kanji Mutt for the work that he's doing, and its initiative is Holiness Shankar Vijayendra Saraswati Swamigal. Personally, he initiated this, and we are just carrying out this, and it's working well. I think we are contributing a lot by doing this. One Kashmiri Pandit called me a couple of days ago and wanted me to share his thoughts. And I think it is interesting. What he was telling us, he said you should remind people about a little bit of what Hindu community was doing in India
Mm-hmm.
and their strength. No, he's not talking about Rishi Sunakar. No, he's not talking about that. What he was telling is he one Kashmiri Pandit by name Nandram Tiku and
Okay.
Sahaj Ram Dar played a very important role during Afghan rule in Kashmir. Pandit Nandram Tiku ruled over Kabul with a strong grip over administration in the early 1900s. He is credited to have struck coins in his own name. The coin was known as Nandram Zar after his Pandit Diwan of Kabul.
Mm-hmm.
I think what he was trying, we had a long discussion. What he was saying is, you cannot run a program on Afghanistan today, just like you are
Exactly.
doing on Kashmir.
Exactly.
It's gone, forgotten.
Right.
Kashmir is part of India. How long we are going to be talking like this?
Right.
I think it's very relevant, and I'm sure everyone is watching this. Kashmir is not Afghanistan when you know the story and how much you exercise control, and it's all gone.
Right.
Now, Kashmir, part of India. So it's about time. I think that's what the concluding remarks. He said, I should share this. Whoever comes next, you talk to and ask is what he has to say.
Right, right. Obviously, Kashmiri Pandits have been the great administrators, bureaucrats, admins. If you go back to the history, they have always been great administrators, right? We go to Pathan rule, you go to Sikh rule, you go to Dogra rule. Always they have been there because they were. This was the 100% literate community, right? As I said, but our weapon was always education and knowledge. So that's how it has been, and that's how it is still today. But yes, to your point, right, right. So we have made our mark in those times, right? And uh, Nandram Tikuji you just mentioned, yes, yes, that's we,
You are aware of that, right? You
I have
probably
heard
heard.
that, yes, right, right, yeah. So yeah.
So there are many such stories coming now. We are hearing about the greatness of Kashmir, and now when you visit India, what do you do? You plan a trip to Kashmir and go and visit your places.
No, I haven't gone since 1990.
Oh,
I haven't gone. I haven't gone back yet. Yes, but I go to Jammu. That's where my parents live. But I haven't been to Kashmir. But I may go. I mean, I'll plan something now. Now things. So yeah, but so far I haven't gone back to my place. I obviously want to go back. I want to take my kids. I want to revisit those places where I grew up. So obviously, yes. And culture, Kashmir, as you said, culturally, it is always been what you call the spiritual fountainhead of our civilization, right? And Adi Shankaracharya has traveled all the way from Kerala to Kashmir, right? And this was the place, and you might have, I heard one of our speakers spoke about Sharda Peeth, right? That university which is in ruins. So
yes.
that was like what you call in today's world as the advanced degree university, right? You go there for so the Kashmir was the only place where you could synthesize all your thoughts together. So people from all walks of life, they would come to Kashmir and they will discuss and they will put out their thoughts in there. So the Advait, Dvait, duality, all these school of thoughts. If you see, Kashmir is the only place in India or in the world where the Shiva and Shakti combined is worship, right? The Kashmir Shaivism, uh, the way it has given importance to Shiva and Shakti together. Even Adi Shankaracharya, when he came to Kashmir, what I have heard from my elders was that prior to his Kashmir visit, he was not a Shakta follower that much. And obviously, Advait, Vedanta, and Kashmir Shaivism, and we can have a separate topic on that, has its own similarities as well as own differences, right? So, Kashmir Shaivism is much, I will say, in depth. It goes all the way to 36 tattvas. Advait, Vedanta, and all other are 25 tattvas, and Kashmir Shaivism goes deep into Maya, and it says Maya is real, and Advait Vedanta says Maya is unreal. So there, I mean, there are so many things. I'm just what I have heard is that Adi Shankaracharya, prior to his Kashmir visit, he obviously Advait Vedanta Maya is not, so he didn't recognize Shakti, and it was in Kashmir with his debate with a Kashmiri woman, a simple Kashmiri woman, for 17 days, and then that's where he recognized Kashmir uh, Shiva Shakti as a combined, unchanging and changing reality together. So, and that's where we have heard he wrote Sundarya Lahari,
Soundarya
and
Lahiri.
he started praising that Shakti, and it was all done in Kashmir. And he wrote that whole beautiful Sundarya Lahari for Tripur Sundari, and in our Kashmir we have Panchastavi, which is also written for Tripur Sundari. It's like a replica. So, I mean, Kashmir has always been at the strong. I mean, the Buddhism, there was a lot of influence in Kashmir. Kumar Jiva, one of the main Buddhist scholar, he learned in Kashmir, went back to Tibet, China, and propagated Buddhism in there. So it was the only place where you could kind of have that unity. Consciousness, so the unity, the Jiva and Param Shiva consciousness, because rest of the India mostly was in duality, or even if there were some Advait philosophies, but still there was some difference. And Kashmir Shaivism, I think, went a step ahead and basically proclaimed that everything is Shiva, right? Everything is Param Shiva. And the way they beautifully uh, described the evolution of the universe, how you transcend from the 36 tattva all the way to the first grossest tattva, Param Shiva, from Param Shiva to Jiva. That I haven't seen, and I used to read a lot in the past. I haven't seen that kind of depth in any. And if you, I mean, Trika philosophy from Kashmir Shaivism, Pratya Binj, we have the school of recognition, Spandakarika, that is all quantum physics. So that has all been sent by our great rishis, Somananda, Utpal Deva, Abhinav Gupta, Shem Raja, Swami Lakshmanju. I mean, if you read their work, Tantra Loka and all, it's all what our physics is saying today or what it was saying back in 1920s or 30s. People got Nobel Prizes for that. So quantum physics and Spandakarika from Kashmir Shaivism, if you read, it's almost same. It's all vibration. So it's all beautifully explained in our the thing. Vigyan Bhairav Tantra, the 112 method of centering your awareness for meditation. That's the gift of Kashmir Shaivism to the world. Buddha got enlightenment from the first method, from the breathing. We have 112 methods, and they are the only methods you can use. There's nothing outside that so far. And that came from our Rudra Tantra from Kashmir Shaivism. So, Kashmir Shaivism, I mean, it's very unfortunate now we don't have that many authorities on Kashmir Shaivism, Swami Lakshmanju being the last one. Obviously, there are people who are doing research and all of that, but yeah, it's a very profound and I will encourage your Preetham Kanchi ji to kind of we can maybe do some more awareness series on that
Yeah,
side of,
sure.
right, and we can go in detail between what Kashmir Shaivism has
No,
to
no,
offer.
no. It's very interesting. Amiji, when we discussed some time ago, I could see that you are so well versed in Kashmiri Saivism or Trika Saivism that you explained, non-dualistic tradition of Saiva Shakta Tantra that you explained.
Right.
You are a resourceful person, and
No, I only understand things intellectually. I don't understand anything in totality. I haven't practiced
no,
anything, but yeah,
you'll join us sometime. We are booked up to December, and hopefully you can join. We would like to keep this platform alive. And being your first program, I wanted to hear the issues that is facing Kashmiri Pandits now. Surely we will have more discussion on this.
right.
And what are your thoughts finally? Well, if you're going to send a message or ask somebody anything that you want to clarify, what would be that
I mean, message
about
to our
Kashmir? Yeah, no message to the government
I
or
will.
message.
I think I said it enough. The government has to look it at a bigger picture holistically. Just don't go by reopening a mall or reopening a theater and claim, start just beating that out. Normalcy is restored. It's not that. Look at the deep psyche. Try to understand what the problem is. Obviously, we have think tanks sitting in the government. They should be aware, but you have to go after the ecosystem. You cannot say, and obviously if you want what I want immediately, as and it's again from a limited capacity, and this, we want right to justice right now. I mean, we, before we do anything, we want our people who were martyred, right, people who killed them, we want them to be hanged. Why not? Why don't we have a tribunal? Why don't we have inquiry commission? India is good in setting up commissions for everything. Why don't we have a commission on Kashmir? A Kashmir file has given you enough material. Why don't you set up a commission, and why don't we go back and start looking what happened in 1990? What who started all this, and who killed all our people? Why don't we try them in court? Unless you give justice to our community, I mean, reconciliation and rehabilitation, it goes hand in hand. You cannot say we will not punish your culprits but will rehabilitate you. It doesn't work that way. It's a two-way channel, right? So you have to start with reconciliation, and the reconciliation is when you give us justice. And then on top of that, obviously we will like to go back, but not like the way you have sent our employees. We want to go back in a very secured environment. You have to create that environment. We cannot go there and take arms. We are a civil society. We are peaceful people. And some people I see sometimes say, "Oh, you can. Why don't you guys pick up arms?" We are not. We're not. We're not living in Syria here. We're living in India, and it's a democratically elected government. We have military. We pay our taxes, so they have to take care of us for security. National security is not our this. Obviously, we the main reason we suffered, the main reason we had to leave our land is because we always stood with India, and we will still stand with India no matter what, and we still stand with India. That's in our blood. Nothing can change that. But that doesn't mean that you take us for granted and you send us there and then we get killed and we wait for somebody coming and kill us. That's not how it's gonna work. So obviously, right to justice and have a secured environment, have a proper plan in place how we can go back and reconnect with our roots.
No, I
And
think
I'm hopeful this government will do it, because that's the only hope we have right now. I mean, uh, I'm not saying they're not doing anything. Obviously, they have done a lot of structural reforms in India. India as a country, they are doing great. But just for our issue, Kashmir issue, I hope they listen, and they like they're doing other things. They kind of really put their brain into this and kind of start looking at it as a holistically how it can be done.
no, I think
That,
government is trying to do quite a lot of things.
right,
I was reading in the press. Let me see if I have a slide I wanted to show. You see that this is
right,
about. I don't know whether you're able to see this. This is talking about folklore from South visiting Kashmir.
right.
This came up in the press few days ago, and
I just
one.
want to replace Shankarji that the day you see the visiting Kashmir replaced by living in Kashmir, then I will have my go. I I always see visiting. Everybody can visit. There is no problem
Yeah,
in
no, but
visiting.
you have a
I
point.
want you
Today, if
people to live there. I want South.
you, you are right. See, we can go and then live in Bangalore tomorrow.
Right.
Okay, buy a flat and then
Yeah.
move, or go to Calcutta. That is what I think you mean.
W-
We can't simply go and
Exactly.
live in Kashmir.
Exactly. Exactly. We
Yeah,
should
but
not.
the government, another minister, Minister Murugan, I think, he visited Kashmir, I think, a few days ago about waterways, talking about, finding out opportunities or improving the economy. No, what I'm saying is, no, your point is well taken. What I'm trying to say is, government is keeping, every day we read something about Kashmir today, thanks
Right.
to all the media and publicity, creating more awareness among people. See, for example, no, I can't say thanks to Kashmir, thanks to media, the word terrorism is taken up very seriously.
Right.
At least, people, the moment they talk terrorism, I think it is drawing the attention of everybody, and people go to the extent of saying it can't be tolerated. So
Exactly.
all these are happening, but well, I don't know if we can put a time frame like 5 years or 10 years. I think.
It's gonna take time, right? I mean, as I said, unless we balance the demographics of that place, and that balancing the demographics takes time. So it will take its own due course. But yes, the government should be aware of the ground realities as well. That's what I'm trying to say. And
I, yeah,
Shankarji, for your so the way you are doing this awareness series, we are also our community is doing a global Kashmiri Pandit conclave in Delhi. It's happening
yes,
on
I saw that
November
sometime in November.
26th and 27th. So I appeal to all your viewers to please support this initiative. It will be held in New Delhi in Teen Murti Bhavan. So we need all of your support, and I'm thankful to all the people who came forward during the Kashmir Files movie. I could see there was a tremendous synergy between the whole Hindu community, and the people helped us. People supported us big time, and we want to keep this awareness campaign going. We don't have to let it die, right? It has to keep going, because till we get justice, until we are really rehabilitated, we had to keep it going, and we
No,
don't
this
want.
Kashmiri files created really awareness, and most of the pundits could relate to what we have seen in the movie. I've seen the
Right,
movie,
right,
and there are no protests or anything about that movie because everything is real. It's not just
exactly,
made up, and I think well received in the US too, right?
Yes, it
Kashmiri side.
was. Right, right. Every community received it well. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just trying to look for any questions from anybody. I don't see many. Um, So thank you so much for your time today. It was really very nice having you and giving a different perspective. We have covered enough of history. We talked about past glory and scriptures and university, like you mentioned. Many things we covered in the last 62 series. That's like,
Right.
if somebody interested in doing a PhD, they can look at
The
the
videos.
message, and it's still ongoing. There are a lot of more speakers coming forward, many more topics to be covered in the coming months. So thank you so much, and appreciate your time early on Saturday morning, and look forward to seeing you on other topics you just talked about.
Sure. Thank you, Shankarji, and thank you to Kanchi Kamakoti Pitham for giving us this platform. Namaskaram.
Okay. Namaskaram. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, viewers. This was a different perspective by Kashmiri Pandit community based in Houston, Texas. And we are going to cover quite a few more. A lot of people around in Kashmir who are going to come forward talking about these things, which are very helpful. And I'm sure people who are listening, they could take notes from their aspirations and what needs to be done. As always, we thank India's leading only Tamil newspaper, that is Dinamalar, which is giving a great coverage to our programs. Every Wednesday or Thursday, they give a small write up about our program well in advance. We also thank Kanchi Mutt streaming channels, Facebook, YouTube, and also Kamakoti.tv. They cover our programs live. And finally, BDSP for all the streaming support they have been providing right from our first program, that is last year. You can always watch our previous programs in any one of those channels, including MDS channel. We have so far 62 series covered. We are also looking at arranging pilgrimage to Kashmir. We talked about that last program. That is when Arun and Sita came. Sita is the one who is organizing programs during Shankar Jayanti every year, past 10 or more years. We have given all the contact details. If you're listening for the first time, please watch that program and make a call or send an email to her. We will follow this up and make arrangements for a pilgrimage to Kashmir. Till we meet next Saturday, we thank you once again and Jai Jai Shankara, Hara Hara Shankara.